But first, a Fox News alert on the mounting crisis in Syria. Activists on the ground reporting heavy government shelling near the Syrian capital, killing at least 16 people this morning. The new violence comes as Secretary of State John Kerry secures conditional backing from our European allies to back President Obama's proposed military action against the Assad regime. Greg Palcott is streaming live from Beirut, Lebanon, with the latest. Greg?
Heather, we are just about 40 miles away from the border with Syria, so you can imagine the folks here in Lebanon are watching even more closely than many the diplomatic wranglings around the backing for a possible U.S. military strike against Syria. In the midst of all that, Secretary of State Kerry, he was in Europe today. He first met with all the European Union foreign ministers in Lithuania, and they gave him a backing to a certain extent. They endorsed a clear, strong response to the alleged chemical weapon attack by Syrian forces against its citizens last month. But they also urged the U.S. to hold off until UN chemical weapons inspectors filed their report. That might still come in about a week or so. He then went on to Paris, where he met with the foreign minister there. France has been, of all the European nations, the most supportive of the United States in the run-up to a possible military attack. Meanwhile, in Syria, we are getting word from our sources on the ground that, yes, government forces continue to pound rebel positions, not just around Damascus, but in a town to the north of Damascus called Malula. This is a predominantly Christian town, and we are told al-Qaeda-linked rebels are doing battle with government forces there. We're also told that religious figures, nuns, priests, whatever, are being caught in the crossfire there. That is a historic religious town that is now a battlefield in this war in Syria. Now, fears that Christians could be targeted in fighting, and they could be targeted in any fallout from a possible U.S. military strike, is prompting prayers really across the world. First, in a Damascus church, prayers were said. This is part of a global prayer vigil that had been called by Pope Francis to call for peace in Syria. And Pope Francis himself made an appearance before tens of thousands of people at St. Peter's Square late today. Finally, back here in Lebanon, there was another protest outside the U.S. Embassy today, protesting the possible U.S. strikes. Yesterday, the State Department ordered all non-essential employees at the embassy to leave Lebanon. The fear is that there could be retaliation against U.S. assets on the ground here in the event of that possible U.S. military action, that coming perhaps from the Iranian-backed Hezbollah group based here and active here. Heather.
Greg Palcott live for us from Lebanon. Thank you.